Don Latour with me. Don and I met recently at a networking event that we both attended, and I was like, Don, you got to get on the show. So, so here we are. Don, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no, Doug, it's great to be here, man. It's great to talk with you again. So Don Latour, what I do online fitness and nutrition coaching for busy parents who don't have time to go to the gym or don't want to go to the gym. Help them lose weight all at home. So I'm doing this full time for a year. Prior to spent about 10 years working corporate world in HR, and I've got 3 kids, wife, married about 10 years, and keeps me plenty busy outside of work. It's fun.
Wow, 10 years. I would have thought you were like, well, it's probably because of all the fitness that you're like 21 years old. Like you've been married since you were 11.
20 years younger than I actually am. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a gift. That's a blessing.
Genes, I think. I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about this problem probably with those Italian genes.
No, probably. We'll see, man. Who knows? I've got some other blood in me too. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's all good, man.
Nice. So we're going to dive into your experience growing this business that you got now, kind of what you did before, your whole entrepreneur journey. We're going to talk about faith because this is the Profitable Christian Business podcast with emphasis on the Christian and profitable. For those that might be watching this episode for the first time, you're thinking, are they just going to talk about money? No, talk about profitable for the kingdom. And what that means by that is that how is your business affecting the reaching out for people for Christ, right? So how is it profitable in that aspect? Not just, we want businesses to be more profitable money-wise, but we also want businesses to be profitable reaching out to those that need Christ. So awesome. I'm going to start off, Don, with some casual getting to know you questions, just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit before we get into the deep, heavy business and faith questions. So what's your go-to post-workout meal or snack?
So it's a protein shake. So 1 banana, handful of ice, about 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, about 1/2 cup of milk, and then chocolate protein scoop. It tastes like a Reese's drink.
Really?
It's incredible. Yeah.
Are you of the pre-workout crowd too? You take pre-workout?
I personally don't. I just have coffee before I work out.
Me too.
Everyone's a little different there, but I enjoy coffee prior to.
So I usually work out. It's probably about 7 o'clock in the morning when I get to the gym, and I've had a cup of coffee by then. Are you a first thing in the morning person as well?
It's helped me to be consistent the longest. So yes, like I like the morning. I did mine this morning, pretty early. So
yeah, I find for me, and I always tell people, every time I say this is my experience, your schedule permits you to do whatever you can, but I have more energy throughout the day when I work out in the morning. And sometimes I wish I had the bandwidth to go mid-afternoon to kind of have that second round of energy, right?
Sure.
But that's when that last cup of coffee works.
Yeah, working out does a good job for energy boost, mental clarity. Even just like kind of preparing for what you have for the day. If you can get a hard workout in, like you've already done something hard, you can do the next one thing.
Oh yeah, that's true. I love that statement. Like start off doing something hard right away, and then everything else is you can do more hard things because you've already proven you can do the one.
You've already proven you can. That's right.
I had a set of list of questions, but I want to keep going down this trail, if you will. So. Consistency. Can we talk about fitness consistency? So correct me if I'm wrong, but I tell people all the time that it's not, you don't always have to be 100% every day, right? I say I use this in not just fitness, but in other things. Like if you just make the trip to the gym on the days that you say you're going to, you don't have to get in the full workout, right? If you only have a certain bandwidth of time, like I went this morning and I could only get on the elliptical for 10 minutes. Usually my workout is like an hour, right? But it was just going to the gym and doing it, right? To stay consistent. I'd love your feedback and insights around consistency around fitness.
Yeah, I think, I think some days that's what the reality is. We don't always have the perfect schedule and the perfect, I don't think that's normal. I'd love that to be normal, but it's just not. And so a lot of times 10, 15 minutes is what we have. And you just make do with what that is. Now, it could be as simple as you just get up and stand up for 10 minutes. You could be as simple as take a walk for 15 minutes. It could be as simple as you do a few push-ups for I do a lot of kettlebell training, and there's workouts you can do in 10 minutes that feel like you're working out for 40, and then you're done. And a lot of times, when
Mm,
that's all you have, that's what you do. I think the
that's
goal is to get as predictable as you possibly can, but I think there's this mindset with fitness. It's either you're doing all of it all the time, or you're doing none of it. And I think
hmm
to be consistent, it's actually not as intense as that. It feels a little bit more like a 20-minute workout here and there.
yeah, yeah, awesome. Um, let's talk about you talk about kettlebells. A lot of people maybe don't have a gym membership. Gym's like so far away, and that adds another maybe it's a 30-45 minute drive to the gym, and that's kind of the excuse they make is like now it's not just a half an hour workout, it's like an hour and a half gone out of my day
Yeah.
because I have to travel to and from the gym. So if you could create a home gym at home, and what would you recommend if you only had like three items, what would make the cut?
Yeah, that first so it depends on your goals ultimately and what you like, but like parents typically I work with, and you think about a schedule for someone. They're waking up early, they're getting the kids ready to get into work, they're working, they have all the things associated with that. They have the commute back to work, or they have the evening routine, there's evening stuff with the kids. That's a full day.
Hmm.
And so if I were to say, and I want you to drive to the gym 15 minutes twice a day, that's like, really? That's 30 minutes. You can be
Mm-hmm.
done in 30 minutes at home. And I would say, if I were to pick that as my goal, I would do three things. I would have a kettlebell. I'm partial to that because you can do a lot with it, just one. I'd have a mat, and I'd have a tower fan. That's like
Mm-hmm.
less than 200 bucks. You can get started. And that'll keep you busy for a month or two. And then you just kind of stack from there.
Did I hear you say tower fan?
Yes. Or a box fan.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
in Texas. If I don't
Oh,
have a
gotcha.
fan, I am not working out in the garage
Okay.
because it is
I
very warm in the summer.
I was trying to get too deep. I thought that was something other than what I was thinking it was.
No,
I was thinking, yeah, a tower fan is a fan, but I thought maybe you
it's
had a
as
special,
simple as
maybe
it
you're
is. Yeah.
benching some kind of new thing
No,
that
no, no.
I,
Yeah, those weird picking up and putting down weird objects.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's just
It's
Texas. You can't,
it, it's the new
it's 90 plus degrees for 4 months, and
it's the
gotta have
new
a
thing.
fan.
It's the tower fan workout,
Yeah,
spin it around.
that's hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. So one of the things that we always do on the Profitable Christian Business Podcast is a fill in the blank question because I'm
Okay.
always intrigued by the answer. So your fill in the blank question is a God honoring approach to fitness begins with blank.
I'd say humility.
Mm,
And here's how the way I'm thinking about the question is like if I'm starting, like if I'm wanting to start something with fitness, I think humility is probably the first step. Um, there's humility comes before honor. So
hmm
First Peter. But if you think about like business success, I think a lot of times in business, the people who are really successful are those who kind of start with like, I don't know the answer. I need to figure it out. And so they start this process of how do I solve this problem? I think I say with fitness. I think a lot of
mm,
times there's so much information with fitness that we think we know the right answer. But I think the first question to start with is I actually don't know how to be consistent. I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? And that's going to help you start. And you're much
mm,
more eager to learn. The clients that I've had the most success with have always been the most eager to learn. They want to know what's going to work for them. And I think that kind of trips people up. If you think about the self-talk with fitness that we have,
hmm
it's like I did this workout, it didn't work for me. I did this diet, it didn't work for me. I did this thing, it didn't work for me. And all that's looking at the method being used. And I think a question to shift away from is like, is there something I'm not understanding about the process? How can I improve my knowledge here so that I can find something? That's a different position to start with. So I think it's humility.
I love that. And there's certain things that you said in there that um, everybody thinks of fitness, it's physical. There's so much mental to
Oh,
fitness.
totally mental.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Getting over those hurdles, right? Those
Yeah.
mental hurdles that you have, the self talk, right? A lot of times people quit because they don't see the progress right away that because they don't have the patience or the the consistency, if you will, right? To
Sure.
be able to reach the goals that they want to reach, because no one goes into the gym on day one and has 50-inch biceps, right? So
No one does. We all start where we start.
yeah.
And I think it's just admitting, here's where I am, here's what I need. Maybe I don't even know what I need, but I know I need to try and do something different. So what can I do to try to get me to where I want to go? And I think you have to be humble to start there.
Another question that we ask every time is the secret question. So your secret question, and we kind of alluded to this a little bit already. The secret question is, what is the secret to consistency with fitness and nutrition, especially given the type of clients that you normally work with busy parents?
Yeah. I would say the secret is actually focusing on less. So doing less. It's not doing more, it's doing less. And the things you're doing, you want to make sure those are the right things to focus on. So for instance, weight loss, you don't need a different workout every single day. You don't need 60 minutes in the gym. You don't need to go on a paleo or keto or intermittent fat. Like, you don't need that. There's simpler ways to do these things. And I think if you're able to focus on less, you're able to do more longer. At some point, think about like whenever we start fitness, I'm going to start Monday. I had a bag of Cheetos last night or ice cream. I'm feeling bad today. Monday's the day I'm going to start. And typically what happens is we're like, all right, I've got this big routine. I'm committing to this diet. I'm committing to this schedule. And that flops after about 4 days because we try to start with too much. So whittle that list down. Like I think the less that we take on, the longer we can be consistent, and then add on as you've proven that you can be consistent with the little things. It's like being faithful to little things. It's the same thing. We just want to feel that we're making progress. So progress equals longer workouts, more restrictive. I'm not saying those are wrong. I'm just saying, I think we set ourselves up to failure, I think, if we take on too much too fast.
I think that's so true. And there's been times when I've wanted to start my fitness journey, and I think that is exactly what derailed me, is that I tried to do too much too soon. Like, I'm going to do this hour and a half in the gym workout, and I'm going to flip my diet completely around. I'm going to quit all sugar, quit all carbs.
Get a new wardrobe. Like, everything's going to be different,
Yeah.
Right.
Everything is great. And I think it's translate. I use fitness analogies so often when it relates to business too, because it just carries over. It's doing the small things consistently, over and over again. Right.
There's so much overlap, especially like think about with business. This is my one of my things I have to work with is focus. I just can get so distracted. I'm like, this is the new thing. It's the same thing with fitness. There's always something marketed to you as a new thing that's going to help you solve your problem. And you have to really steer through that and say, what's actually going to work? It's probably not the new shiny thing. It's probably the thing that's always worked.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. So that's so good, because the shiny object syndrome, right? And it goes back.
That's my issue I deal with.
No, but a lot of people do. They are not persistent in what I find often is they're not persistent in what they were doing already. And then they think persistent and consistent. And then they think, it's the thing. And it's a lot of times it's them. Right.
That's right.
The frameworks usually always work. The good frameworks usually always work. It's just a matter of staying consistent with them long enough for them to pay off.
That's right.
Yeah. So awesome. Right. Let's dive into your faith a little bit, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
So how has your faith influenced the way you coach clients with fitness and discipline?
Oof. Yeah, there's so much to launch in here. So I think of a few verses. So Proverbs 21:5 comes to mind. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but whoever's hasty comes to poverty. I think there's this impulse. We talked about this earlier, like hastiness. We've got to get this done now. Well, the end of that is going to be poverty, and diligence is going to lead to success, or just a profit, just a successful plan, something that works. And diligence, that word means to cut. So think about like you've got an axe and you're looking at a tree. Like that tree is not coming down with one hasty stroke. It's going to take 1,000 little chops. And I think that's that mentality. I think once someone gets there, it becomes fitness is not easy, but it becomes easier to work through the things you need to, right? So that's the
Yep.
first thing. So like, God's word is not silent about this stuff. Like it is instructive. Second thing, 1 Corinthians 10:31, like whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, you do for the glory of God.
Mm.
And so that's eating and drinking. How do we think about nutrition? How do we think about the things that go in our body? We do that for the Lord's glory. Ultimately, it's far beyond just whatever serves us. And the last thing, we'll probably talk to this later, but 1 Timothy 4, that's what I immediately think of when I think of fitness in the Bible. Like bodily training has some value, but training in godliness is profitable in every way. I think there's a few ditches we can get into that, like misapplying that verse in different dimensions. But like how I think through that is, if we can minimize the importance of bodily training when we think about it's propping up next to godliness, because that's true. Godliness is more important than bodily training. But also, I think we can get on the other side where we can neglect bodily training because we don't think it's godly. And I think I think that's misapplying the truth. I think that almost kind of smells a little bit like the physical is bad and the spiritual is good. I don't think the verse is saying that. It's saying bodily training has some value. It's there, and godliness is profitable in every way, meaning godliness is profitable for bodily training too. It's not excluded out of the category of what godliness can instruct. So as we train, like how do we train in godliness, I think is the question, right? Which puts some boundaries, I think, around it.
Yeah, let's dive in a little bit here, because I think even for Christians, or I guess I'm going to say especially for Christians, ego, vanity, all those things start to come into play. Some of the mental block may be, I don't want to work on my body because I'm not trying to be like this super attractive person. I'm not trying to be vain and all up in my ego. And I think they have the wrong misconception of why they're doing it, right? It's to be healthy. So if you could just speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, I'll start with my own journey. So when I started exercising years ago, that's what it was for. It was vanity for me. It was conceit for me. I wanted to look a certain way and feel a certain way. Just like I wanted the arms, I wanted the abs, I wanted the physique. And I kind of got to a place where once I became a dad, that started to shift a little bit, where it was like, oh, now my strength actually does something for my family. And then once I started to get more deep into my career and work, oh, wow, the energy I have through working out allows me to work harder and longer. Okay. And then I started serving in community church. Oh, the strength I have now actually allows me to do those things. So you think about like the 2 greatest commandments: you love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and love your neighbors yourself. So I think fitness allows you to do both. You love the Lord your God with it, meaning you do it in a way that honors him. And exercise allows you to love your neighbor. It allows you to do things longer with more endurance, more energy, with more focus, more strength for the good of others. And that was a big shift for me. Like I got 3 kids, and all they want to do is play. It's, they're young. And if I didn't have energy for that, like some days I don't, but I think that gives me energy to show up as a dad. It gives me energy to show up with work, to show up with my friends and my wife. And I think when we neglect our health, that suffers. It's inevitable.
Yeah. And how long, it's going to be great to go to heaven when we die, but to be able to prolong our lives, to be able to serve our families, I just think, if you're doing a disservice to your spouse, like if you don't work, if you don't do anything health wise, if you just eat poorly and you die early, right? And you're basically leaving them abandoned, right?
Sure. And this kind of goes to that all or nothing mindset we were talking about earlier, right? It's like I'm either all intense on fitness or I'm not doing it. And I think there's this middle ground where it's like you just probably need to do a little bit more than you're doing now, and you're probably going to get way more return for what you're doing. That doesn't mean you need to look a certain way. It does mean you need to steward your body the Lord's given you, and that does mean probably more effort than you're putting in. But that also doesn't mean it has to look. I think this is where that gym culture kind of rubs in. Like it's that's not fitness. Fitness that only existed in this way since like the 40s and 50s. Like fitness has always been for work and for others. Like that's how work was done, was through fitness historically. We just live in this age where our work can be disassociated with the body. Like not a lot of us need the knowledge work, information. Like a lot of our bodies don't need to be used to work in the same way that it did hundreds of years ago. It's a very modern problem.
But I want to tie something back that we talked about earlier. It's not just, you don't just work out for your body, you work out for your mind, right?
Correct. Correct.
So
yes,
there are a lot more sit down type of jobs than there were like many, many years ago, right? But if you want to be sharp intellectually and focused, working out, fitness is key as part of that. So
absolutely.
The other thing I want to speak on is how, let's do the parallel again between business, finance, etc. Christians often look at money like that's a bad thing, right? It's all about idol worship. When it becomes an idol, vanity can become an idol. Money can become an idol. Your business can become an idol. So doing it the right way, putting God first above everything, then everything falls underneath that. God, family, then all these things that will disappear, right?
Yeah. Amen.
So
it's loving the Lord your God by your heart, soul, mind, strength, and your neighbor as yourself. I think that applies to everything, including fitness and nutrition.
So I have a question about your move from your 9 to 5 to what you're doing now. What gave you the courage to leave your 9 to 5?
Yeah, love this question. It's going to sound silly, but stay with me. Narnia.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, Chronicles of Narnia. Specifically, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. So I was reading that with my kids about a year ago, and that was a juncture for me. It was about a year ago. That was when the business had started. It started to grow fast. I was still doing my job, and I was in this like moment of what do I do now? Like, do I do this full time, this new venture, or do I stay where I'm at and kind of do both? And I got to the point where I couldn't, and I was terrified to do it, terrified to make the jump. Like it just was. So I was reading Narnia, Voyage of Dawn Treader. The 22nd version of this is that story is about the king, Narnia, Caspian. He's sent on this mission to go across the sea to a place no one's ever been before, which is Aslan's country. And so he goes through all this stuff, and he gets right to the very end before he's about to get there. So that's where I was. I was at this juncture of like, just like Caspian was. There's this place no one's ever been before. When Caspian was there, his crew members flaked. And there was one sailor that flaked in particular. The guy's name was Pit and Cream. C.S. Lewis gives this guy like a paragraph of time. This paragraph really changed me. Pit and Cream looks ahead and says, I'm not going to go. And he doesn't. And he stays behind when everyone else does. And then he instantly regrets it. And then this guy starts to make up stories about how he went there eventually. He like, to elaborate all this stuff. He abandoned his crew. He became a fake, essentially. And I saw myself in that guy. I was like, if I don't jump into this full time because I'm scared, I'm going to regret this. And I'm probably going to wish that I did this, and I'll manufacture this identity that I don't have. And so for me, it was like reading that with my kids. I'm like putting this book down, like, all right, like, I think I know what I need to do. So jumped in full time.
That's awesome. That's interesting that you said that. I was just having a discussion with somebody yesterday, and it was about not really the fear of success, but what we equated to was a lot of people don't know, like they don't want to achieve their goals because they like being comfortable, but then they don't want to take the risk either, because there could be heartbreak on the other side, right? It's the whole adage, it's better to have loved and lost than never loved at all, right? The same thing could be about pursuing your dreams, right? Of what you want to do. It's better to have pursued them, even if there's failure. You learn a lot, right? Than not to pursue them at all. So.
Yeah, I think that's so true. For me, it was just the risk. Like, it just seemed so unknown, and I had, 3 kids. I still have 3 kids, like leaving a very stable job into something that I was totally an unknown for me. And so
Um,
I think the Lord used that to be like, hey, I think you can be okay. Because Caspian, like the story goes, Caspian makes it, and it wasn't as bad as
mhm.
he thought it was. It really wasn't.
That's
It was hard, but
that's
it was
it.
actually the easiest part of the journey.
It's never as hard. It's never as bad or as hard as we think it's going to be.
Right.
We put
Right.
so many things in our mind when it comes to making a huge decision, a huge risk. We always think about the worst possible outcome, and 99% of the time that never happens,
You're right.
right?
Right.
So,
It's like the
um,
fear of what might happen is actually worse than what reality actually is.
yeah.
So,
How much did your prayer life play into making that transition?
oh, huge. Um, that process, praying and asking the Lord, what is this thing? What is it going to do? Can I be faithful to my responsibilities, to my wife, to my kids, my
Mm,
bride, and serve my church? Like, that started a year before that decision started. So it was this
yeah.
long process of like, what's the right, like, I didn't know. We had a bunch of different side hustles going on. We were evaluating a lot. The
Mm,
prayer started there, got a little more clarity in that process, started building it, and again, prayer in there. And then once it got to a point where, not that I knew that it would work, but just I could see how it could.
mm.
That's when I was like, okay, I think I can responsibly say, in a good conscience, before the Lord, that I think this is going to be a risk we can take. And so it was very gradual.
That's awesome. Hold with me for 1 second. I had a thought on that and it escaped me, but I'm gonna come back to it. Um, oh, I hate that. Anyway, we'll move on, and if it comes back to me, I'll be like,
Sure.
"Hey,
Yeah, we'll go
let's
back.
let's ask that question." Um, a whole new transition. We're gonna go back to the fitness portion a little bit. The What do you think the number one mistake most busy parents make on the nutrition side?
Oof. Um, so I already said like focusing on too much, but I'll be more specific with nutrition. I think the biggest mistake we make is we fall, I'm saying me included, we kind of fall to the next thing that's going to solve our nutrition problems. So I'll walk through that. Um, just kind of zooming out, like marketing, generally how, at least how I understand fitness marketing works. It essentially says, here's this thing that can solve this problem, and you haven't heard of it before, and here's all the people it worked for, right? So it's selling belief. And with
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, it's so easy for us to fall to the thing because nutrition is complicated. So if someone can simplify
Mm-hmm.
it and say, this is going to work for us, I think we just fall into that. So for instance, like specifically, keto was very big, intermittent fasting, very big. Those are not new. You can go back to the 60s, even the 19th century, there were some diets that echo what existed. All a good nutritious diet is going to do for weight loss is going to help you, put you in a place where you're in a calorie deficit. That's it. Now there's different flavors of that, no pun intended, between like what carnivore does and what keto does, but if just purely weight loss, that's what's going to work. So I think with nutrition, we can say, oh, this is the thing that's going to solve my problem. And then we try it for a month and it doesn't work consistently. And then we back off and then we regain the weight. And then we're like, oh, this thing's going to work. Oh, we do it it's that cycle over and over again. And it like traps us. Specifically as like, we just want the thing that's going to work. Like, just tell me, I'll do it. Right.
Yes, I'm not sure how well this is going to tie in, but I want to go here because it's a personal reference, and something that I've experienced as far as nutrition. So when I've gotten consistent, at having a better diet, and I go back and I have something that I used to have that used to taste enjoyable to me, and
Yeah.
it's such a the way it makes me feel is such a contrast to the way I normally feel. Yes, it tasted good in the moment, but I don't want that anymore.
Right.
So, um, I'd love your insights on that.
Sure. Yeah. Our taste buds can change. So like that biologically, that happens slowly. And I think that's probably good. I think we're conditioned generally in our diets to have ultra processed foods that are not good for you in high doses. And that's pretty much the American diet. So once you start shifting away from that, you start eating single ingredient whole foods. So your lean proteins, your vegetables, your really good fruits, your legumes, your body's like, oh, like, this is great. Like, give me more, and your taste buds adjust, and then you have it, and all of a sudden, like you eat that way for a few days, and you have pizza, you feel it right away. You feel it
Mhm.
right away. Um, so yeah, and I think just the way I would encourage anyone to think through that is like, can you have both?
Mhm.
Is that possible? Um, so if you were to look at weight maintainers, so people who have lost weight and kept it off for over 5 years, people so like they lost 30 pounds and just lose it once, they've actually maintained it. This has been studied. You look at their diets, it's almost always flexible.
Mm.
Almost always. The more rigid it is, the less likely someone's going to maintain. The more flexible it
Mhm.
is, the more likely someone is. So, which means you can have pizza and you probably should learn how to eat it,
Mhm.
right? Just in moderation. So I think that's the dream, and that actually works. In real, I see that with clients. I see that with myself. Like there is a world that exists where you can have both with this in moderation.
I think it's like maybe this is the exact percentages, but it's like the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the
Yeah.
time you're eating clean and
Correct.
you're eating good. 20% of the time you treat yourself, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the more I eat the 80%, the less 20%, like just physically, yes, it tastes good, but physically it doesn't make me feel good. So
Yeah. And I would just add to that too. I think once you get to the place where that becomes a little bit of your palate, I think that 20, I think I'm saying this for myself. When I get into moments where I'm eating more junk food, I'm actually eating things I kind of like,
mm,
but I don't really love.
mm,
Like there's junk food. Like we live in Texas, so Bluebell ice cream is big
mm,
here.
mm,
Um, like that's to me to eat candy versus eat Bluebell ice cream. It's different. I like Bluebell ice cream more. So you think about the
mm,
20% is like, what do you actually really like?
mm,
Like, and if you just have that, like once a week, like you're probably going to be happier than if you had junk food you don't really like more often. So I think Lewis talks about a little about this. Like we're too easily pleased.
mm.
Like so,
Yep.
like real when you go for the junk, like really get something you like really go for it, and that's going to help you. I think cut out some of the other things that you kind of like Oreos. I'm not. It's okay, but
Yeah.
like Bluebell, like yes, I'll have that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a big ice cream guy. The time I was referencing is actually when I had pizza and milkshake in the same day, and I had been eating clean
Oh,
like
I'm sure
the
that felt
whole
good.
week. And I was like, what did I just do to myself?
Yeah.
Luckily, it was a weekend because just talk about performance, right? When you're trying to work, I would have been ruined for the day if I had for the
Yeah.
next day if it was um, a
It
work
tells
day.
you it's in
So
your stomach. It's like, hey, remember me? I'm
yeah,
still around.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to busy parents again. Oftentimes as parents they have a routine, right, of kids go to school a certain time, the work schedule is this, and they are really good at establishing a routine, and then they can work fitness in there, but sometimes there will be something that happens, their schedule just explodes, right, that
Yeah.
they have. So how do they stay consistent when and also I want to throw this in there, travel, right? If they
Mm.
go on vacation, things like that, because vacations I can find could break up your fitness routine. Like when you come back, you're not back on your fitness routine. So if you could talk about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the exploding first. So there's like maybe two different kinds of explosions. Like one are like ones we probably could have planned for, and other ones that we
Mhm.
just literally can't. So like for instance, last 2 weeks ago, I got a stomach bug, went through the family.
Mm,
Like can't plan for that. That's an explosion. And in those moments, like fitness shifts down in the priority. I would say like
mm,
there's times that happens. Now if there's like an explosion you probably could have planned for, like, oh, I booked too many meetings because I committed to too much because I said yes too much. Like that's
mm,
probably self-induced. So different
mhm,
kinds of explosions. But in the first scenario where it's like this, like my kid's sick, woke up through the night, like something happened, a family emergency, like I think that's yeah, fitness is probably not the priority. If you have a little bit of time though, it's probably going to help you. 10 minutes of standing up, 10 minutes of what kind of we were talking about earlier.
mhm,
Something that'll help you get your mind off of what's happening, reorient and get back to it. 10 minutes of a kettlebell movement, whatever. I think that helps kind of the really unpredicted explosions. Travel, I tell this to clients. Typically the travel, it's like, do you want to work out? No? You want to walk? Yeah. Okay. Do that. and they typically get more steps on typically on vacation. Like
Yeah.
one guy got like 40,000 steps one day. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
possible to do that. Just
Yeah.
that,
Just go to
so
Disney
like,
World.
yeah, go work out different ways, right?
Yeah.
And then get back to it. The hardest part though is that first day back. And so that's where accountability comes in, where it's like, okay, do you know what you're doing? You know when you're doing it, you know why you're doing it again. Those first two workouts are the hardest, but once you're back into that, it becomes a little more easy.
Talking about accountability, that is why it's good to have someone to be held accountable to, right? So having a coach like yourself or some sort of program that you're a part of, that there's some accountability to. So can you talk about the value of that and what you specifically provide?
Sure. So how I define accountability, because it's one of those words kind of nebulous. I think about inputs and think about outputs. So with fitness, there's a specific way you're going to eat, specific way you're going to train, specific goals you have. Those are your inputs, the thing you're doing. Your output's the goal. So accountability makes sure you're doing the inputs so that you're getting the outputs. And if you're doing those things and not getting the outputs, you can make adjustments. So that's essentially how I incorporate that in my program. And there's different methods to this. So there's things I do weekly, there's things I do bi-weekly, there's things I do regularly, daily. But it really comes down to helping someone make the decision that's going to work for them, and then kind of holding them to it. Like, did you do this? And not in a mean way, but like, you committed to this. Like, this is your commitment. And once someone kind of gets on that path of like, wow, I did it and I can do it, it just that's where like you have these experiences again and again when you start becoming a different person.
Yep.
Accountability just acts as this like support mechanism along the way.
Yeah. Couple things. One of the things is, I think there's you can even just have a coach for a season, right? Because I think there's a part of us that just needs that coach to help us become the person we need to become, to keep the discipline, to keep the habits, right? Because I think there's a graduation point, for lack of a better term. Like when you're with a coach long enough and you've been held accountable long enough, it just becomes part of your lifestyle, right? And that to me is a huge reason to get a coach. If you really want a transformation to become the person you really want to be, and serve your family well. Let's go back. Serve God well, serve your family well, get fit, and be able to have more energy to do those things. Call Don. Get in touch with Don. Don's going to put some information. We're going to share some information with you that is going to allow you to reach out to Don. But I implore you, if you feel like, man, I just can't get it right, I need some help. I need some guidance. I need some instruction. I need someone to hold me accountable. So we talked about taking that leap of faith, right? Just do it. Find somebody that's going to help you get to on the start of the journey to be who you want to be from a fitness standpoint. All for God's glory, as we mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So with that, nice segue into how can people find more about you, out about what you do and how you do it?
Yeah. So my company is called Layman's Fitness. It's like layman's terms. So laymansfitness.com. That's a place you get started. To follow along, probably the best way is my newsletter. Write it every week. Been doing that for a few years. So you can go, it's on the website. If you are interested and you want to kind of learn what it would look like to work together, I have a program called Kickstart 40, and it's 40 days. Help busy parents lose 10 to 15 pounds. If you follow the program and you don't lose 10 pounds, you get your money back.
Wow. Well, that's pretty powerful. And you have a link that you're going to give me for that I can put below, right?
Yeah.
For them to access that. Awesome. So it'll be in the show notes. One other thing that keeps coming back to the top of mind, I want to address, and that's going back to the consistency and how to help them be more consistent. One of the things that has helped me for the longest time is time blocking, right? And priorities. There's a thing I like to call the 5 F's. Faith, family, fitness. I sometimes interflop those. Family, fitness, finances, fun, right?
Nice.
When you're scheduling your day, schedule your faith time, right? Your time with God, because that's the most important. Schedule time with your family. Schedule time for fitness, right? And then finances, right? And then fun, right? Try and schedule all of that. Of course, you're not going to be able to always every day have time for all of that. But with that priority stack in line, that fitness is near the top because it helps you take care of the finance, it helps you take care of the family, it helps you take care of the faith, like even your faith walk, right?
Right.
So hopefully that helps someone as far as when they're thinking, when can I fit in fitness? Make it a priority when you're time blocking. So
I think that's huge, because fitness is not going to accidentally happen unless that's part of what your job is.
Yeah.
You know,
if you're out there swinging a sledgehammer.
Yeah, like it's just we don't naturally wake up. We're like, I really want to do some pull-ups right now, and like let's go for a 5-mile run. Like it just isn't. We just don't operate that way. Some people do, but most no. We've got busy lives, and I think the only way it's going to happen is if it's made a priority.
In mid-interview when I said I had that thought, it's just come back to me.
All right.
How important gratitude and counting your wins along the way is, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I think people fail to look back often enough and see the progress that they've made, right? They're always comparing themselves to someone that's further ahead. So they always feel like that's lower self-esteem, and they have trouble looking back and saying, well, I was that person before. So I don't know if I said it all, but I'd love your insights on that too.
Oh, I think that's huge because I think there's an identity shift that starts to happen with fitness. Specific, like if you're the kind of person who just has never had a lot of success, here's typically been my experience. Having some of that personally and then working with a lot of clients, there's this belief that you're just not ever going to figure it out, or there's a doubt that you actually ever could. And that feeds into how you view your ability to be successful with fitness, which sets the paradigm for anything you try. It's like, I can never apply this to business. I can never be good at marketing. Well, you're probably not going to act as a way as if you were good at marketing because you don't believe that. Well, I'm not good at sales. Well, you're going to act as a way you're not good at. Same thing with fitness. So the way to shift that, the only way to do that is by giving yourself a different experience. And then once you have that experience, it's like, I did that. So I've worked with, there's one person in particular. He described his experience as fatalism. Like almost like I got to, early 50s, got to the point where he's like, I never can turn this around. Like it's too late for me. That was his self-talk. And so we started working together. About 6-7 months later, now it's like, oh, I look back, I'm a different person. And now I'm starting to act like a different person. And now I'm starting to make decisions as if I'm a fit person. Now my friends are talking, they're coming to me with fitness questions. Like I'm the fitness, that shift takes a lot of time, but it's reinforced when you start looking at the things you're actually doing.
Wow. I'm so glad I asked that question or we talked about that because I think that's so powerful. And if you are in the beginning of any journey, your mindset matters. You need to start thinking about yourself as the person you're going to be, not so much as the person you were. The more you think about the person you're becoming and less of the person you were, the more you're going to become the person that you're going to be. I know that's crazy, but it's so
I'll apply
true.
that back to sanctification if I can. Like it's the same process. When we become a new creation.
Yeah.
Like Christ saves us, he redeems us, he's adopted us. And then he said, okay, now I'm going to fill you with my spirit and you're going to become a new person. So this is like Ephesians, this is Colossians. You start putting off the old self, put on the new self. That takes time. But like it's that shift. You start thinking about yourself in a different way and you start acting in a different way. That's in a microcosm. That's essentially what happens when someone starts to change fitness.
I saw a video, and I don't know the pastor's name. He's one of these people that has a lot of social reels out there, but it really hit me. Basically, he had a guy that was real buff come up on stage. You might have seen this video, but
no, I've not seen it.
The pastor's in okay shape, right? And he says, I forget. We'll just call the guy's name Randy because I don't remember the gentleman's name. He's like, Randy and I go to the same gym, is what he says, right? Randy looks totally different. Randy lifts the same weights, different weight level, but we lift the same weights. We listen to the same music while we're at the gym, all this. Randy looks a little different than me. It's because Randy goes to the gym and he does things. He says, I can't do that because I go to the gym. Whereas I make an excuse. I go to the gym, so I'm able to eat that ice cream, or I'm able to do these things that aren't going to make me fit. Just I'm doing that to kind of supplement what I'm doing wrong, right? So
right.
But he equated that to the Bible, right? Like, or to following God, right? I go to church so I can sin, right? Where that's not why you go to church. You go to church to sin less, right?
Right. It's like Romans 6. It's like, grace abounds, therefore I sin? No, like we're dead to it. That's who we are now. We're a different person.
Yeah, man, this has been such a great conversation. If you want to reach out to Don, and what is it that we're sharing with them again? Remind me.
Yeah. So my website, it's laymansfitness.com. You'll see everything there, details about the program, my newsletter. That's the best way probably to get connected with me.
All right. Reach out to him there. I don't know social media links. You want to put any social media links?
Oh, yeah. I have an Instagram too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to share that as well.
Awesome. So we'll share the Layman's Fitness website and the Instagram. Reach out to Don. Don, I ask one last question because usually always in my guest head, they're like, there's one other thing I really want to share with everybody. And he didn't really ask me that question. And I feel like everybody on the call that's watching this podcast needs to know that. What are your parting words of wisdom for anybody watching?
I think I'll just share, like, rephrase some of the things we've already talked. The main thing I thought was probably most impactful. Like Lewis says, you need to be reminded more than you be taught. I think with fitness, there's this temptation to do all or nothing. Where it's, I want to, okay, maybe you're hearing this, you're like, I can finally get the motivation to get started. Great. Just start with something you can do and you can do, and give yourself some time and patience. Like that's where we find ourselves burning out, because we just try to take on too much, because we don't look at our life and we're like, okay, we're doing fitness now, so what needs to come out, or what do I need to change? We just add it to whatever's going on. So start small, but start. Just start. There's too many benefits for us to neglect the body God's given us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I think I love that. It's just giving yourself grace, right? You don't have to commit to the bodybuilder plan right out the gate. So
sure.
All right. Thank you again.
Go for it. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Don. Until next time, keep moving forward.